welcome to a special edition of Legally Speaking with Tarun Angya on NewsX. Why is today special? Today is very special because of two special things. Today we launch the Legally Speaking digital series, a digital platform where lawyers and eminent jurists from all over the world will contribute articles as well as many other commentaries, judgments. A lot of things will be shared on this platform. Also, today we launch the Legally Speaking lecture series where every month we'll have one eminent individual lawyer or judge coming and sharing their opinions and observations, analysis on various topics. So indeed, today is a very, very special day. But what makes it more special is that we have with us his Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant, and we thank so much that Sir has made time for this very special occasion. And we've got, I think, the most high-powered and eminent legal panel that anyone could imagine. Getting so much time and so many people together, I think would cost a fortune. We count ourselves lucky that we have been able to get all of them at one place at one time.
Dance! हिंदी इंग्लिश राइम्स फन गेम्स क्विज आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट के साथ छोटे बच्चे.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Legally Speaking with Tarun Angya on NewsX. Why is today special? Today is very special because of two special things. Today we launch the Legally Speaking digital series, a digital platform where lawyers and eminent jurists from all over the world will contribute articles as well as many other commentaries, judgments. A lot of things will be shared on this platform. Also, today we launch the Legally Speaking lecture series where every month we'll have one eminent individual lawyer or judge coming and sharing their opinions and observations, analysis on various topics. So indeed, today is a very, very special day. But what makes it more special is that we have with us his Honorable Mr. Justice Surya Kant, and we thank so much that Sir has made time for this very special occasion. And we've got, I think, the most high-powered and eminent legal panel that anyone could imagine. Getting so much time and so many people together, I think would cost a fortune. We count ourselves lucky that we have been able to get all of them at one place at one time. I would like to welcome Senior Advocate Mukul Rohatgi. He has served, as we all know, as the Attorney General of India, and he is counted as one of India's eminent jurists and is known all over the world as such. I have with me Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. He is eminent jurist. He is also third-time sitting member of Parliament. He was former chairman, Parliamentary Standing Committee. He was also served as ASG. He is an author, commentator, and a well-known media personality. I have with me Senior Advocate Vivek Tankha from Kashmir to Madhya Pradesh. He is very well known, and his family is also very well known. He has served as the Advocate General of Madhya Pradesh, and he punches equally well in politics as well as in the courts. So he's got equal presence in Parliament, he's got equal presence in politics in Madhya Pradesh, and equal presence in the Court of Law in Delhi. I have with me Senior Advocate Parag Tripathi. He has served as ASG. He's counted as an eminent jurist. And I have with me Mr. Ryan Karanjawala. Mr. Karanjawala heads one of India's leading litigation law firms called Karanjawala and Company, which was in the news very recently after the Tata judgment, which his law firm won. I have with me today on this very special occasion, Mr. Kartikeya Sharma. He is the promoter of ITV Group. ITV Group, as we all know, is one of India's largest media groups with well over 11 news channels, newspapers, digital websites, all to its credit. It's on this platform that we ideated Legally Speaking well over 4 years ago. And today we are very happy to see that we have earned the confidence of the legal community, the bar and the bench, as they say, the bench and the bar both. So, as we start today's discussion, first but foremost, in about a line, I would like Mr. Kartikeya Sharma at least to wish us well for this endeavor. He's wished us well in the past 4 years. If he could wish us well, I think we could do better in the next 4.
I will not take too much time of the esteemed guests we have and the Honorable Justice on board. And I would just like to welcome everyone on behalf of the ITV family. Thank you very much for taking out time and being a part of this on a very special day and special occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma, for those kind words of encouragement for all of us. We will start the initial opening remarks with eminent jurist, senior advocate, Mr. Vivek Tankha. He will open today's discussion, and we are all waiting to hear his intervention on today's topic of media and law. So, would you please open today's discussion?
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and let me be short, not too long also. It's a very interesting subject, media and law. Now, if you look at media, you have to look at the media either in the old way, that is how the world looked at media earlier, that is what you call the Gutenberg era, or the Zuckerberg era. I mean, you have two eras. You have to now cling to the new era. Now, this new era brings its own issues, its own problems, and its own solutions also. Now, both are important for democracy. Media is the medium of thought and expression and knowledge. I'll put it also knowledge, because Article 19 protects media because it also disseminates knowledge. And law is important because it regulates, but it would not regulate knowledge per se. It regulates what could be the deleterious part of media. When it challenges public peace, when it challenges national sovereignty, when it challenges the establishments, the establishment of the state. Now, we all have fundamental rights, but these fundamental rights can never be absolute. But yet, if you want democracy to survive, you need both. You need law and you need media. Now, what is this new world media? Because earlier, I believe it started with a radio. From radio, you must have, we went into wireless, and the first law on wireless came after Titanic sank and the wireless system was not working. So the US legislature enacted the first law of wireless. Coming to India, after radio, we had Doordarshan. Now all this was state-owned. Media till a very long time was a state-owned enterprise. Even in a democracy, it was a state-owned enterprise. BBC is not owned by, really speaking, it's controlled by the government. It may not be owned by the government, it's controlled by the government. So media was never per se completely free. But this new era of digitalization, which you rightly said, has brought in its own issues. Today, you get knowledge through various platforms. Now, even like I'm an old timer, I read a newspaper in the morning. My children don't read newspapers. I've never seen them reading newspapers, but they know everything that I know, or maybe a little more, because on their laptop, they're reading everything. Now, if you look at the new platforms, I mean, today the digital media is the new media. Your OTT media is the new media. These are new platforms. Now, question is, how much can you control this media? These medias are on foreign platforms which are out of reach in terms of jurisdiction. It's not easy because, I mean, how are you going to control all this? World over, nobody's been able to control this. So the biggest challenge that the law is going to face is you could control the traditional media by making laws in India, giving them notices of prosecution, giving them notices under the press and under the PCI Act. No, there is no PCI Act for the broadcasters. You have a self-regulator. We still have to have a law for the broadcasters in a sense. So what I'm trying to say is that this new world media is both an asset and could be a challenge at some point of time. Now, a lot of times you have sudden content being burst into a country's life, which creates unrest. I mean, I can share with this. I mean, we were in a parliamentary committee debating the new law that on the privacy. And one of the issues that we were asking all these media moguls and giants, that do you don't have a sense of responsibility when you put a content which leads to a riot, which leads to breach of public peace? How, if I can't regulate you, somebody needs to regulate you. I'm talking about, say, Twitter or Facebook. They put a content that leads to a riot. And where do you prosecute them? And their regulation, they have a system of regulation. But that system of regulation, for that you have to make a complaint. They have a body which goes into the complaint, but by that time the situation here would be too late. So there has to be a regulation. There is nothing like an absolute freedom, but freedom is essential. And I'm very happy. The other day I was discussing this with Karthikeya. Karthikeya is these days fantasizing about starting an international channel. So I said to Karthikeya, the best place to start it is India, because I think Indian judiciary is the most robust judiciary when it comes to freedom of press and press and media. I think if there is one judiciary in Asia which has stood by press and media, it is the Indian judiciary. Our contempt law is archaic. I'm 100% sure. In fact, it doesn't suit the present milieu. It doesn't suit us at all. We may bring in punishments. We may bring in other ways of controlling it. But to say per se that if you write against a court, you will be sent to jail, it doesn't fit into the new spectrum, the new thought process. And this is not India, I'm talking the world over. Kind of reportage that you find in British and US newspapers about House of Lords and their Supreme Court and High Courts is amazing. I mean, you can't think of in India. But there's no such thing as contempt. But yes, when it comes to pornography, it comes to child abuse, all this, of course, has to be stopped. So as I said, it's a vast topic, unfathomable at this stage. I don't know how we are going to control them when their jurisdiction lies thousands miles away. They are somewhere perched in a satellite or some platform which we can't even control. So it's a challenge, but an opportunity, because this new media has opened up job opportunities, new thought processes. I mean, frankly speaking, my two children are intimately connected with my daughter and my son-in-law with the with the digital industry. I mean, I don't even understand their work, frankly speaking, because they seem to be in a new world, a world which, when I was young, I could not even think about. So we have entered a new world. We have challenges which this world has to face. We need to bring our laws in tune with the contemporary challenges. Parliament is debating it. Judiciary is thinking about molding these laws, but it will take time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singhvi. Like a very fine argument, piece by piece, you've taken off everything that you could have said. Thank you so much for that intervention. But I have 3 points to make. And second point is that we have, unlike a lot of other channels, started a positive thing. We started Rahat, a campaign with Rotary as well as Dr. Naresh Trehan, which thankfully, with the efforts of Mr. Vivek Thankha, we brought in. Thousands of people in Madhya Pradesh are being treated, and media is playing a positive role to get them treated free of cost. So we got a lot of people to join. So this is a bit of positive work that we recently started. In about 30 seconds, Mr. Tankha would, if he could explain to us what is that, and then we move ahead to our next speaker.
I think we are already breaching our time constraint, Tarun. But Rahat is nothing but Rotary's Active Hands Are Touching, where hundreds of doctors go to a tribal area for a week, and thousands of patients in the last Rahat camp in Nandala, that is a tribal belt. We had about 1 lakh patients who had turned up over a period of 7 days. There are surgeries and procedures that take place as much as 5,000, 3,000, 6,000. And the serious ones are then sent to the best of hospitals in Madhya Pradesh and all over India. And it's all free. It is one of the best PPP programs that you have in the country. And I'll only say that to believe, you'll have to see it one day. So I'll invite you in one of our Rahat missions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There's a program I'll share with each one of you. This was with Dr. Naresh Trehan, Kartikeya Sharma, and Mr. Tankha launching it. We were media partners, so that could be one of the positive initiatives of media. But we'll move on to our next speaker. I have with me Senior Advocate Mukul Rawatgi, eminent jurist, somebody who we all look up to in a sense, somebody who has served as the Attorney General of India, somebody whose number is on the first dial list of all leading corporates of India. You see him every day in courtroom, appearing for A big corporate or a B big corporate. Many times, my panel is up against each other in the courtrooms today. They are all very, in a sense, acquainted with each other this way. So, Mr. Rawatgi, your comments on media and law.
Thank you, Tarun. I've had the pleasure of hearing diverse views, and I will ultimately eagerly await the views of Justice Suryakant, because all of us are lawyers. He's the only one who will give the views of the bench. We don't know what the views are. So we should, I think, rush through our dialogues and ultimately give the baton to the judge. But my personal views. First, let us know what is media. It started with newspapers, radio, television, as Tankha said. From that, we went to these large TV channels. From that, we have gone to what is called the OTT. Since I have done some cases of Karanjawala and Company, I know what is OTT. OTT is called over the top. What is over the top? One which is not regulated by the censor board or by the Press Trust of India. What we have in the form of plays, music, serials, films on Netflix. Everybody knows Netflix. Now Netflix, you can access via Wi-Fi. It has no control. Every day there are cases now, people saying that such and such play, such and such movie is affecting religious sentiments and so on. So all kinds of cases are coming up. So how do you control the OTT? How do you control an online newspaper? Or let's say an online channel, news channel called The Wire. We are all familiar with it. So you have online newspapers, you have online information centers, and the reach is across the world. And as Tankha said, it comes by satellite. And I may tell you that now, soon we are going to have a Wi-Fi by Elon Musk, which will be via a satellite. So you won't need any fiber to come to your house and this and that. So that's today the reach. Because of technology, that's the reach of media. We are still traditional people. We like to read the newspaper. But let me tell you, over the last 1 year, I haven't read a physical paper. I now read a paper on the net. 1 year ago, I could barely use a computer. But I learned, because of the exigencies, The judges must have learned. So we went to VC. We had a laptop. We had to understand how to operate a laptop. I took the help of my children. So I can now operate a laptop. I can read a file on the laptop. Currently, I'm doing it on an iPad. And I am sitting in the hills. There's no Wi-Fi here. So I know how to access through a hotspot. So I am now using 4G and hotspot minus a Wi-Fi to be on this show or doing cases in the court. So that's how the reach of technology, whether in the field of media, information, etc. That's where we have reached. And every day there are new and new things. Now, as these things grow, the lack of controls, because now these are beyond borders, national borders, state borders, international borders. So as these are all beyond these borders, how do you control? What do you do? So I send an SMS to somebody in England. That SMS is forwarded to 1,000 people. It creates a ruckus in that country. Now that country can't catch me. Can that country make a request, like an extradition treaty, to catch me because I have created something there? I have not done anything wrong in this country. So how are these things going to, have a play? Traditionally, yes, the court always leaned in favor of press freedoms, starting from all those cases of Bennett Coleman, Indian Express, etc. But those were, if I may say so, a reasonable and a more responsible and a sensible approach of media. The original TVs, radios, newspapers, TV channels. But the way the TV channels have grown, since they have grown and they have now 24-hour channels, and frankly, if you ask me, there is only so much that they can show. So they have to keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Now, the irresponsible part of the Indian media, let's only talk about that. I just gave you a sweep of what the issue of media is. But the court has always stood by them, and full marks to the Supreme Court from the 1950s till today of standing by the media. But let's talk about it today. The problem today. The problem, we gravitate towards TV channels. I don't think there's much problem in newspapers. Newspapers are still the traditional form. The problem is you have a surfeit of channels. They have to show you the same thing. It's like Goebbels in the Hitler's regime of lecturing the same thing over and over again, so that some people start thinking there may be some element of truth in it. Now, the irresponsible part, and then we'll come to what should be done. The irresponsible part, some of the speakers have already touched. Somebody is arrested. Let us say a small person, not a big name, not a politician, not an industrialist, not a wealthy person, not a well-known person, not a poet. Somebody is arrested. The first thing that media will do is to sensationalize it. Let us talk about a case, you must have seen, Justice Suryakant also might remember 10 years ago, of Dr. Talwar, husband and wife, their daughter was found murdered. I had something to do with that case in the Supreme Court. Now, the way that couple was painted black, that they were murderers, they told me, now that they've been acquitted, they told me that we have stopped going out of our house. We don't meet anybody. Nobody wants to meet us. Nobody wants to call us. And they were dentists. So they were painted black day in and day out, channel after channel. There is no control. Nobody can say anything. And gullible people, normal people, if you are shown the media again and again and again, start believing, well, there must be something wrong. Why will a channel go like this? So I'm just giving an example. There are millions of examples. Take the recent Rajput case. Is it such a great case that it should attract the attention of the nation for days on end? I mean, doesn't the Supreme Court, High Court and the lower courts do cases of NDPS day in and day out? You think that they are transformed in this fashion, sensationalized just because there's some actor who died and also not, I mean, a great actor of that fame. Somebody died, so sensationalized. I mean, everything. I mean, so it's all right. Your job is to present facts. Your job is not to become a judge or an accuser and say this, that, or the other. The man's reputation is damned. I mean, he may succeed later. Who cares? I don't think the Talwars would have gone back to a normal life. Even today, 15 years have gone back. It takes a lifetime for a reputation to be built. Whether it's a lawyer, a judge, an architect, or anybody for that matter. It takes a lifetime. But it takes what? Half a day to destroy it. If somebody is destroyed in that fashion, he walks to a street or goes to a movie or goes to a restaurant, people say, oh, here is Mr. X. He is the man who's accused of this. It's only an accusation. And the court, the channel will go hammer and talks. Now, if this is so, what is the answer? The answer has to be in regulation. Within the norms of freedom. Every freedom must bring with itself a sense of liability and responsibility. How will it come? Either it comes from within. We have seen within, I keep seeing tickers on the channels that we abide by the rules of this association which Singhvi was talking about. But I don't think it really matters. People have started saying that such and such channels are far more sensationalist than others. So internal regulation hasn't helped. The press trust hasn't helped. If the government comes down with a heavy hand, you say that the government is choking freedom of press. If the court comes down against such irresponsible things, when matters are going on in court, you are painting the victim black. You have convicted the victim, the court will decide later. A gross violation of fundamental rights. Every accused has a fundamental right. Every person jailed has a fundamental right. That's what the Supreme Court has said. So internal regulation hasn't helped. If the government comes down with a heavy hand, the government is accused of choking. So what is the answer? In my view, it's a very difficult nut to crack because of the expanse of the reach of these channels and the way they are now entrenched. The government can't say, now let's have only 5 channels. That's not possible. Or every channel to give news for this time and, you see, amusement for this time. So according to me, the government must, and it's very difficult because technology takes over. All these acts which we got, cable acts and all, they're all old acts. They're kind of, outdated. We have just now started with some new IT rules which have been challenged across the nation. What you require in the government is to have a body to constantly monitor the reach of this media and frame some liberal rules by which they must abide on pain or penalty. The sub judice rule, contempt rule, so on and so forth, which are well known, they must. And for these foreign channels or foreign social media companies, they will have to share some responsibility by having, like a establishment in India, what in tax you call an establishment, a PE. So something like that here, so somebody can be taken to task even if you're sitting in America or elsewhere. So that is the need of the hour, to have a regulatory body here. Lastly, what should be the role of the court? The court has always protected them. The country is grateful to the Supreme Court for protecting them. But from 1950 to say the year 2000, there was no bad boys, so to say, or these irresponsible part of these channels wasn't there. It's occurred in the last 20 years. So according to me, the court must come down firmly and make 1 or 2 examples by saying you cannot make somebody's reputation mud. You cannot convict an accused of an FIR by saying that we have convicted him. The court must come down, set an example. Maybe they will evolve themselves and have some kind of internal regulation. Now we talk about contempt. In England, the Contempt of Court Acts have been abolished. They don't believe in contempt. The spy catcher case was an old case. Now they don't have contempt. We still have contempt, and contempt is required till people or society comes of a particular maturity. So the two rules that you can criticize a judgment but not the motive of the judge is very, very clear. But there is a third angle. Suppose I was to say, I'm just giving an example, that the court seems to be lax and the court has upheld many judgments of the government which it should not have upheld. Suppose I say that. What would that be? Suppose I say that the court has not taken up some very important issue at a particular time, which is the need of the hour. How would you describe that? Is that contempt? There is no accusation of a judge. There is, you could call a criticism of an institution. Could you say that the institution is not discharging the role it was supposed to discharge? Or that it is sided more with the authority than with the citizen? So that's probably the only grey part of the contempt law which kind of remains. The other parts are very, very clear. So I would end by saying self-regulation has not helped a lot. Some regulation is required to be there, liberal, but within the fold of 19(1)(a) read with 19(2). And the court may also set an example to put these people in line insofar as reputation, which is also a part of Article 21 today, is to be maintained. That's the only way, because the media and the reach of technology has crossed all borders exponentially. Thank you.